Yo, what's going on YouTube? So this is how I made $7,700 trading today across 5 Lightning funded accounts with Tradeify, and a little trade recap, trade breakdown here. First and foremost, this is the P&L. So a little over $1,500 per account today. Trading micros, and let's just dive right into the trades here before market closes here in like 10 minutes. So going into today, we saw that price was already tumbling lower and taking out previous weekly lows during Asia sessions. So during Asia sessions, we had already come down and taking out previous weekly low. However, if you guys were on my stream today, you guys heard me talking about October low, and just looking at these higher time frames, daily and weekly charts, it's to me becoming pretty obvious that we are trading towards the October low. Now, we did end up taking out this low here to the left as well, but I genuinely think that the October low, 157 and 3/4, is going to be in play most likely, especially just looking at how this daily candle is going to close. Still pretty bearish, still pretty weak, and going to be closing below these previous daily lows as well. So we will keep an eye on that as we go throughout the week here. But because of this overall draw, I was still a little bit more so bearish than bullish today. And getting into the actual price action today, so this is the trade that we took first and foremost. But let's go ahead and jump into replay mode before start new. Yeah, let's jump into replay mode. Get here to market open. So market opens up, and we get an immediate drive down, and we'll delete this as well. Immediate drive down and creating relative equal lows here. And we also had an unmitigated London high and Asia high. So Asia high and London high had not been traded to at all on either ES or NQ. So I was a little unsure about if we were going to get a manipulation above these session highs before going lower. And long story short, what ended up happening is we ended up just manipulating higher here at open, leaving a really aggressive wick to the upside, and then we flip. So we end up flipping this lower and getting us to, where's 10 a.m.? So the close of the 9 a.m. hour going into 10 a.m., like we had a extremely bearish close on the hourly candle, right? So the hourly candle, this is 10 a.m. Will it show the whole hour? If I go to replay mode here, it will not. Perfect. So we had a very strong hourly 9 a.m. Candle closure here on the hourly, right? So we closed below the lows, 4 hour and 1 hour bearish close, strong bearish close. I'm expecting 10 a.m. to open up, manipulate higher, and sell off. And you're seeing that right here in the 10 a.m. candle. This is the 10 a.m. hourly candle. We open up, we wick higher, we immediately rebalance, and then the candle ends up closing bearish. So this is what I was anticipating going into 10 a.m. I was a little uncertain, though, about where I wanted to target for my entry, right? So obviously in an ideal world, you would like to mark up a range, right? And then see price rebalance to equilibrium and then go short. And that was pretty much the idea of what I was trying to do and what I wanted to do. But this range, let me just fast forward here. Couple candles. Here we go. Okay. So this range was a little bit tricky because I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, okay, do I really see us coming all the way back up to here? Not necessarily. At least it wouldn't be ideal because we have, this is the 5-minute chart. We have 5-minute bearish fair value gap here and a 5-minute bearish fair value gap here. And in my mind, I'm like, all right, if we trade up and we invalidate these two bearish fair value gaps on the 5-minute, I'm just thinking to myself that that's not a good sign for wanting to see continuation lower. And so what I decided to do is I actually decided to use the fib, and I fibbed this up from the bodies of these candles. So from this body high here to this body low right there. And we find our 50% is right here around the 593, 594 mark. And really this golden pocket zone that overlaps with this 5-minute bearish fair value gap ended up being where I put on my entry. So I ended up getting 2 different entries with an average fill just below this 50%. And my stop loss was going above the 618 and this 5-minute fair value gap candle. And then I was just simply looking to target the recent low, but then we did end up getting a little bit more off of this trade as we traded through this low here, and also standard deviation projections. So if we just project this out, if I go to the 1 minute here and you see this 930 manipulation before this move down, projecting this out again using the bodies here, high to the low, projections, we see that this sell side level at 410 aligns perfectly with -2 to -2.5. All right, so essentially price on the 5 minute we'll watch here. It did take a while for this trade to play out, so price kind of chops around a little bit and then boom, it comes up, triggers the entry. Now replaying this on the 5-minute chart is going to make it seem like it didn't really take that long, but this was pretty miserable, right? Like this chop, keeping in mind this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 minutes, all the way up until the beginning of the 11 a.m. macro, finally get some movement. I did end up taking a partial off at this rejection block on the 5-minute, basically at this wick. And then we finally do get a little bit of an expansion. We'll drop down to the 1 minute here. As we roll into the new hour, so the 11 o'clock hour, which is about to open here on the 1 minute, is where we end up getting a final push right there. And I end up closing the rest of the trade off with a runner right there. So most of it was off here at this push down in this wick. And then right here is where I closed off the rest of the position, which did end up being an extremely great exit because we end up reversing all the way back up and completely flipping this range. But this was the trade from today, boys. And this was, save this replay, leave. All right. So now we can see the executions one final time here before market closes here. But yeah, this was the entries. You can see that first entry was here with part of my position. And then my second entry was actually literally a top tick. So my average fill was like just under this 50%. Oops. And then we get the move down to this sell side level. And like I said, taking most of the position off here with a partial, we started to reverse and I was feeling a little bit skittish. So I took another partial off and I just had one contract left running and then end up getting a perfect exit on that runner right here, on this candle here at 11:02. And yeah, man, that was pretty much it. I thought that we could reverse back up to take out London Asia highs after this, which we did end up doing on ES. We just did not get to London highs on NQ. So ES did reverse and we did go and take out the London highs on ES. And NQ failed to get there, creating another SMT divergence and then another sell-off going into the end of the day today. So yeah, man, that was the trade today. Hopefully the logic all kind of makes sense. It was, again, still not like the easiest read up until you had to wait for, I would say, the 9 a.m. hourly candle to close, the 4-hour candle to close. And then that really gave you a lot better idea as far as what you wanted to do and what the market wanted to do in terms of, staying on side with bearishness. So that's how we did today. A nice little 200-point move with partials again. P&L, the day closed, guys. The day just refreshed, but it was 7.7K, I think, something like that in total. About $1,500 per account. And if you want, I guess the P&L screenshot is posted on. It is posted on Twitter if you guys want to go check that out. But appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Not sure if I'm going to be live tomorrow or not just yet. We do have FOMC meeting minutes in the afternoon. We have NVIDIA earnings in the afternoon. And it's also the day before the rescheduled NFP event. So if any day is low probability this week, I think it will be probably Wednesday, the 19th. But again, we'll see. I might be live. I might miss you guys and not be able to stay away. So we'll see when we get there. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Like, follow, subscribe, all the fun stuff. And if you want to get funded with Tradeify, code Tyler or code TT, whichever one you want to use, whichever one rolls off the keyboard better. But appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.